Well, looking back on 2016, and, it hasn't across the board been an absolutely perfect year in Michigan, but there are some successes and some things we're working on, and Governor Rick Snyder is joining us on the line now to talk a little bit about that. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning, Richard. Happy holidays to you and your listeners.
Happy holidays to you. We appreciate the time that you're giving us today. So there are some things on which you've been working that we can see some success. Isn't that true?
Yeah, actually, yesterday was a huge success for Michigan's energy future. We had a great bipartisan effort and passed a package that will set Michigan up well for the next decade and longer. And it was about bringing people together. We got a great compromise package that involved kind of the regulated side of the industry with choice people, and it's going to help with reliability, affordability, and environmental sustainability.
What were some of the sticking points there?
Well, again, we have a kind of a mixed system in Michigan where 90% is regulated and 10% is choice. And how do you keep that balance and some alignment and make it fair? And we've had some structural problems in the past that this legislation really sets it up so they can coexist and hopefully allow people to be, successful on whatever side and advance things at the same time about making sure we're making new investments in cleaner and more affordable sources of energy and doing more on energy waste elimination. The best energy answer we have is if we can be more and more efficient, not use energy, and that saves us all money.
Mm-hmm. I think some of the concern has been looking beyond now, 10, 20 years from now, maybe even 5 years, the concern about demand for electricity. We're plugging more things in now. Are you confident with this that we can meet that demand?
This creates that framework, and we were going to run into real potential capacity issues, Richard, without this legislation. So what this did was really say, here's a framework where Michiganders are defining our energy future. Because one of the challenges is the federal government's been kind of very difficult to deal with in terms of understanding what they're trying to promote, how they're doing it. And I thought it was important that Michiganders should take the lead in that. So this is moving us forward with a plan that, within our state, we all got together and worked something out that's smart for us.
All right. So, your administration's been kind enough to forward information about the recovery going on in Flint. $234 million to the city, $72 million of that to try and ensure safe drinking water, more than 600 pipes replaced, almost $43 million in money to cover the cost of water for folks who live there. Are you confident today, sir, that we're doing everything we need to do to make sure it's right with the water in Flint?
Well, we are. We've seen tremendous progress in terms of the quality of water in Flint. And one of the next steps will be, with the end of the year, there'll be a major summit of the water experts at all levels, from the EPA, from the state, from outside experts, that will be taking place in the middle of January to evaluate all the test results that we've been doing, the federal government's been doing, outside third parties been doing, and look at those results. And we're seeing the numbers already, but I'm really looking forward to their analysis and what conclusions they come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as far as folks who have been in dire need there of water that is clean, can we feel comfortable that that's taken care of now?
Well, yeah, I think we've done a lot. The filters work very effectively, and they've been cleared for all types of people. They work well. They actually, using the water, the system itself helps heal the system. And then we actually have water delivery for people that don't have access or availability to filters or have other issues where they need some help. They've been able to call 211, and we get water out to them. So we've been proactive on this. Again, we're always trying to improve our efforts, but a lot of good things have been going on, and we're seeing happen. And again, this was a terrible situation. So we needed to really help the people of Flint get through this terrible situation and move forward. The other part is how we help grow the city of Flint in terms of more economic development and better opportunities for healthcare and such. And those efforts are taking place. So it's very broad-based and will be ongoing.
I want to talk about education for a second. Battle Creek Public Schools are among districts in the state that are on tenuous financial footing. We've even been told by our local representative that the state has got an eye on Battle Creek and its budget. What would you like to see happen in these districts to help turn them around?
Well, we're working on efforts on how we can look at the cost structures, and not just in schools, but with local governments. those are some of the challenge areas we still have. So one of the things we'll be talking about in 17 is how we can get people together in a broader fashion to have a discussion. One of the things I created was an education commission that is already active and going to say, are there structural improvements for our educational system that would help? And I'm going to create a task force on the municipal side to say how we can address some of those issues. Gradually, we are seeing improvement in most jurisdictions, most schools across the state, but there's more work to be done, and we want to avoid kind of the real difficult situations. Because again, I've had to do emergency managers in the past. We are getting out of that business largely with the city of Detroit Public Schools ending their emergency manager at the end of this year. So we've seen a lot of progress, but let's make it so everyone can get stronger and better.
Mm-hmm. You know, police who are targeted by those who wish to do them harm has certainly come to Michigan in the killing of Officer Colin Rose. There have been other officers in Detroit police who were killed this year. We've certainly heard the national stories. Is there something the state can do to inspire a safer law enforcement community?
Well, we're always working on that because, I mean, they're putting themselves in harm's way. And every time one of those incidents happen, it's a tragedy for a family, but for all of us. And so we need to be supportive. So we're always working on better relations and better communications as well. And again, we've got a group that's working hard in terms of how do we engage communities more to have dialogue about understanding the importance of law enforcement, how do we create better partnerships to make the entire community safer. So we have at least 2 programs doing that in different Michigan communities. Caution through the state police and a program called All-Pack through the Civil Rights Department.
Are we working more in the state now? You talk about job creation and people trying to get on more stable footing in their lives as a result of employment. How are we doing there?
We're doing well. We're doing better than the rest of the United States. The numbers since I took office, over 480,000 private sector jobs. That places us number 1 in the Midwest, number 6 in the country, or number 1 in manufacturing jobs. But that's one of the things I want to continue, in particular emphasizing career tech education and the skilled trades, because there's a lot of openings still. We have probably 100,000 jobs or more open in the state of Michigan today, and we want to fill those jobs because there are people still looking for opportunities, and we want to help our young people be successful. And you've got great resources and assets. Kellogg Community College is a great place to get some of those career tech ed skills so you can get a good, well-paying job.
Well, we certainly have heard about skilled trades and how there needs to be some focus there. And I think, as you point out, some of those entities here are working on that. Is there an opportunity for Michigan with the Trump administration? Is there a way you see that particularly the Trump administration can help the state?
Yeah, again, we want to have a strong relationship with the federal government. I've worked on that for years, and we want to see that continue with the new administration. So a lot of it is being proactive and saying, how can we solve problems together? How can we move things forward together? And a couple of illustrations. One would be the area we just talked about. I think there's a lot of restructuring in federal workforce programs that we could use those dollars much more efficiently and effectively to help people find career opportunities. And we've been talking about that, but I'd really like to see the new administration make that a priority. And then infrastructure. That's something that both candidates talked about, and President-elect Trump has continued to talk about how we need to invest more in our infrastructure. And there's many cases of that, everything from our roads to our water and sewer. One of the great projects we need to work on in Michigan is we need another lock up the Sioux. And that's a national security issue. So in terms of priorities, that should be near the top of the list of infrastructure investments the federal government should be looking to make.
Have you talked with the president-elect at all?
Have not had a direct discussion. We've had a lot of discussions with people in the administration. I think it's great. The new vice president-elect, Mike Pence, was a neighboring governor, and so we've had a good relationship over a number of years.
Fair enough. Well, we appreciate the time you always give us, and come back when you want to.
Oh, it's great to be with you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, Governor Rick Snyder on WBCK.